from the Pacific Northwest worm farming. And today we're going to be pretty much setting up a soil amendment test. We're going to be using a upside down Burpee 72 cell self-watering system to start this setup with. We have 12 different seed packets, so we'll be doing 2 seeds per cell, and then 2 setups per trial. We're going to have 3 different setups. We're going to be using a Miracle Grow mixture of a seed starting soil, moisture control soil, and then of course we'll be adding our own castings in with that as well. So we will have a mixture of the seed starting soil and our own castings, the seed starting soil, the moisture control, and our castings, and then just the seed starting control to see how that compares to our castings growth rate, and we will be able to see exactly what everything has as far as multiple benefits and what it's going to be doing. In our kit, I went through last night, and if you go to our Instagram, you'll be able to see, but we're going to be doing some normal garden things. We have some Oregon sugar pod peas, some cayenne hot red peppers. We're going to do some herbs with lemon balm. What do we got here? We got some just provider bush beans. Nothing fancy, just everyday things that you'd find growing in your back garden. Some Anaheim chili hot peppers. What do we got? Some just regular little Jim lettuce seeds. Some long spinach seeds. What else? We got large leaf Italian basil for another herb. We're going to do some echinacea, so some nice purple echinacea for a nice thing. We got our regular here tomatoes, nothing special, just large cherry tomatoes. Probably add some regular tomatoes in here too. We got some Space Master cucumbers if you want to just eat your cucumber straight off the vine, and some more peas from Burpee. We'll be planting all 12 of these seeds in our 36 set tray. There's 2 of them. They come with cocoa coir in them. I am not going to be using the cocoa coir. I will actually dump that out because cocoa coir takes so long to break down. It is a big deal for me. I don't like cocoa coir. It doesn't add any major benefits. It does have extra things. I feel that it is more of a filler material. But I will be adding this into a special compost, and I will be letting the worms break them down after I kind of fill them up with some water. So I'm going to go ahead and get everything set up so you can kind of see how we do everything, and then we'll go from there. I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, so here we go. We got our setup kind of all getting ready here. Got our 72 cells with our moisture controlled drip stations. These will essentially go underneath the seed trays here that are full of our cocoa coir rounds. Let me see if I can get one out. So cocoa coir rounds, really nothing special. Just get some warm water, fill this up, and then of course the water will drain down through the holes in the bottom, and then you'll see right here I got a nice little mat that goes on top of these. In this tray, you fill the bottom tray with water, and it, with this mat black side up over, it actually wicks the water up to the bottom and is supposed to draw the water into the plant trays. We're going to be using the same setup, but we will not be using the cocoa coir just because it is not what I want to test. I want to see how our soil, our worm castings do versus, you know, the regular Miracle-Gro seed starting. I'm not trying to advertise for them. I want to make something that you can add into this, or maybe even is better than this, that you can just go ahead, fill these little trays up with, and get your seeds going for the year. I also have the moisture control because I don't want to have to worry about problems, and I like to set my seeds down and just kind of let them do their own thing. Once they're ready to come out of here, obviously we'll be transferring them out. I will do a couple of nice picture slideshows, and then I will be setting the camera up eventually, so once all the seeds start sprouting after germination, you'll be able to see how they develop, and I'll have a nice little grid set up behind so you can actually see what plants are what and where they're growing. Now in this setup, let's go ahead and dump all the cocoa coir out of here. You can imagine here we will use these 4 cells for one material, these 4 for another, and then these last 4 for a completely other. I have over here my little measuring cup does, if I can turn it around here, 1 pint, half a quart. We're going to be mixing up several different recipes, so I know that each of these bags has 8 quarts. Just easier for me, I want to do a 20% mixture, so I know 1 pint is 20% of 2 quarts. It's pretty easy. You know, not a lot, but you got to know math to do some of the things that we do here. So I'm going to go ahead and get all this cocoa coir out of the way. We have a nice little mixing tub here, and I'm going to go ahead and open up the bags, and you'll be able to see what we're going to do here. Glove up since I will be handling worm castings. Fortunately, the gloves just don't come out the same way every time. Like I said, I want to save this cocoa coir for later. It is a good, valuable resource for future composting. It will make a great source. Scissors. See, right about 1 pint. Not a lot, but we're not trying to make a lot. We just have a few cells to mix up with this. this moisture control material in here. Another pint of that. Notice the darkness from all the extra goods that we have in here. And then we will open up the worm castings, which are right below us. And we will get a pint of those as well. And then we'll add one more pint of each of the other materials. That way we kind of have a good mix already as it goes together. So there we got it, pretty level. 1 pint of our genuine worm castings in there. Too much. Another pint of the seed starting material, and finally the last pint of that material. Now we're just going to kind of try and get a good mixture going here. Kind of a nice blended brownish black material. Definitely got a good amount of moisture to it. So when we wet this down, it won't take much to make it do what we want. So now we have our first 4 cells ready to fill. I'm just going to go ahead and move our self-watering system stuff over here for now. We'll see how much this material can fill up. Wasn't quite sure on the batch, so I'm kind of guesstimating here. So then, because it looks like I might actually have a little more than what I need, I will just take the rest and it will get added in to either a composter, or I'm thinking that some worms could really help this material along and kind of make it a special batch. But I don't like to waste things, obviously, so we will definitely be using the leftovers here. So what you don't want to do with something like this, obviously I'm doing this kind of like an experiment to show not only customers, but you guys, my viewers, exactly what our product is capable of doing. So we want to make sure we don't overpack these cells, but we want to make sure that they do have a decent amount of material in them. Trying to make sure we're not getting anything in the other cells is quite the fun part of this experiment. But I'm going to use, as this demonstration goes, I'm going to use my, gosh, I can't even think of the word now. I'm going to use my non-castings material for the middle, so you can see that this casting material versus this casting material on the far end will be a superior mix for starting your seeds as a local home gardener, or if you're actually working on a farm, you can see what our castings can do for you. Here pretty soon, I'm hopefully within the next week or so going to be also talking to a weed farmer about using our castings to grow marijuana. Okay, so decent amount of excess left here. I will set everything aside because I'm getting kind of crammed and clustered in here, but obviously I need to clean the lid off. Make sure all of our cells are full. I'll clean this off. I can move this guy out of the way. Lid straight off the top, and there we go. So obviously a little bit of excess. I happen to have a bucket over here that I will be putting all of this excess material in that I can use for house plants. You know, like I said, if I don't have anything really pressing, I will probably just take all of it and use it as an additive for a special cast of Vermicompost. Now our bin is completely empty. I will move to the next seed tray. So the first one, we used both bags, the moisture control and the seed starting potting mix with our casting. This one we're going to use will have just the seed starting potting mix and our castings. The reason why I want to do this is because if I was a local gardener, farmer's market, I might be grabbing this to try and mix, and I want you guys to see exactly what the castings can do. You don't want to use 100% castings. I'm not exactly great at growing vegetables, plants. You know, I can get them to where they want to be, but I'm not great. What I want to do is show you that my product is superior to just grabbing this Miracle-Gro. Everyone I've seen does not use 100% because it can cause nitrogen burning on the roots. So you want to make sure you kind of dilute it. If you're going to be doing something like this, you could probably get away with 100% castings, but when you transplant, you want to make sure you transplant either directly into the soil or something that has a mixture into it. That way your plants can get all of the nutrients they have without burning too much root system, especially in that rhizosphere area. It is a very important area for all of the plants. It is what gives them the food and everything else. You know, a lot of people in the plant industry, especially, they're going to talk to you about photosynthesis photosynthesis and how the plants make their own food from sunlight. Well, that's capable of being done because of things that happen in the rhizosphere. That's the little area that's surrounding the roots. And that's where a lot of worm castings make things superior, is by doing directly that of incorporating extra bacterial presence and getting them those micronutrients delivered straight in there that the worms have already broken down and made available to the plants. Now you see the nice little fungus pellets in here. When I finish my castings, I like to put a top layer and mix in some fungus gnat pellets, just because I don't want to send you with a product that could possibly grow fungus gnats. This is a great defense. They break down, they're water soluble, you know. They're called mosquito bits, but they work on killing fungus gnats and all of that kind of fun area stuff. So now we need 2 scoops of the potting mix. We'll give that a good mix. Fill our cells up and get ready to put some plants in. Got our mixture in. I know I didn't quite do it the same as last time. You can see that my 1 scoop of castings has already kind of just disappeared into this mixture here. You can't even find them in the mixture. So I figured out that we didn't need quite as many scoops, but this one will go ahead and finish off the test, and then we will put our control right down the middle. 2 cells here, 2 cells in the other one, and then I will grab the poker and we'll set up all the seeds. Write down everything, and then I will get it set up here. I'll probably move some worm bins around so we can take some pictures and set it up to watch the seeds grow. We'll go ahead and fill this up. I'll probably put it in fast forward in the actual video. Here we go. There we go. Still got a little bit. I'm going to see if I can just pound the rest of this in. Because obviously we don't want to have it packed too tight, but we want to make sure that it's nice and fluffy. And there we go. Now, we will just take this regular potting mix and I will give it a little bit of this moisture control. And there is our control mixture. Now this isn't a very good mixture for anything. I just put the moisture control in as something extra. We will see which products end up doing better over time, obviously, but here we go. Let's go ahead and give this guy a good mix. So as you can see, that dark moisture control really, just like the castings, just disappears into the regular potting soil. Let's line this up the best we can, and so now just remember, these are germination trays. That's all we are trying to do, is get our seeds to germinate. And all we are really trying to do is show how well our product will add to that as a soil amendment. Now, this would be something that you pick up our product and you're going to mix in yourself. You can make your own choices, but I'm going to be using this. I know how my tray setup is, so I can get everything going. Now we will have a good timeline of what the seeds should be doing and how they should be doing it, along with having better germination rates, I would say. But that's what vermicast and vermicomposting is all about. It's about growing better, more organic, more healthy plants to feed us better, longer, and essentially think about all the things that were recycled to make this. We have cardboard boxes, paper, food scraps that have went bad or just would normally go to the trash, coffee grounds from a coffee shop, a little bit of extra waste here, but we did just kind of eyeball it. So you can obviously see here there's a much darker, richer looking material. That is our best measurement. Then of course we have our control. And down here on the lower level, now that I apparently missed it. We obviously have our less valuable just seed starting and our control. Not much of a difference here to here. So now I'm going to go ahead and move some stuff around. I will get my paper set up and we will start planting some seeds. Okay, so you guys can kind of help criticize me a little bit later on, but what I got here is my first chart. We got tomato, obviously. I traded out, I didn't realize that I grabbed the cherry tomatoes. I actually went back and found my, I believe these are beefsteak tomato seeds. Yeah, beefsteak. Kind of still see it up there. We will go ahead and do the control. And the casting. Make sure we get our holes. And then see if my big hands can get a couple of seeds out. It's 2 in 1 hole. Second hole. See if we can get 4 more. I think I grabbed that guy. And this is why I am not a good gardener. Just to be sure. 2 in that hole. For sure, there's at least 2. 1, 2. Okay, cover those up. Blast the seeds back in. And I forgot. We still have to do 2 more. Makes the science, work if you get all of the holes filled with seeds. There we go. Now, unfortunately, all these seeds are a couple of years old. They have been sitting out here in a nice kind of cool area, but I don't know how these seeds are going to do. So I put a couple seeds in just like I knew how to do from when I was in school. And then we gotta make sure we mark it down on our paper. If I can find the other page. Flip that out. Okay, only got to do that a whole bunch more times. As well, just kind of open up all the holes that we need to. So we will follow all of these plants for as long and as far as I can. I will make sure that I do picture updates on the Instagram and that we get everything shown to you guys so you can see. I'll also make sure I get a nice time-lapse video of once everything starts coming up, you'll be able to see what it's doing, how it's been affected, you know, is it growing faster, are these ones growing more? You know, all the fun stuff that comes with this. I'll make sure I keep everyone updated. And then, of course, there's always the fun thing that I could have grabbed a couple of worms because this was only a 1/4 inch screened material. So we have worms still in it. So there's a very good chance that, you know, all of these castings ones got a little bit of worm mojo mixed up in. Not a bad thing, actually. Probably a better thing because the worms will help the plants, because down there in the plant area, when roots start becoming unnecessary, they just kind of die off and sit there. And if there's no insects or anything to help take care of those roots and eat them back and control them, then these plants are not going to have a good structure. And I just messed all of this up because these were the 2 tomatoes. Yeah, mistakes happen all the time. So what do we got next? We got some large leaf Italian basil, some lettuce, but I think I'm going to go first and grab a couple of these bean seeds. They're a bush, provider beans. Grown these in the past. They are a very easy to grow, fun to take care of plant. They require very little maintenance. And they make a pretty good food source. So we will go ahead and plant these 2 beans just to make sure. Probably end up with a huge plant here. But I'm just crazy enough to deal with it. So we got our bean seeds in there. And we move on over here to the control area, get our bean seeds put in, and then we just need a couple more. To take care of the last series. If the bean seeds will cooperate. Bean seeds going. And the nice thing is, after all this, we'll have a nice meal set up. and a lot of excess food to go around. Means barbecues, means all kinds of fun stuff. So go ahead and mark the provider bush seeds down. Okay, now we kind of got our chart going here. I'm going to go ahead and put you guys on hold. I'll finish all this up, and then you'll be able to see what it looks like. That way we don't have a 90-minute video. Okay, so we're finally done. We got everything planted. Just so you kind of have an idea, this is what it's going to look like. Got our controls, got our castings with just the seed starter, and then our moisture control seed starter castings mix all the way over here. Now everything's going. We got all of our seeds started. It is time to set up the tray and get this guy watered. Let's get going. Bring you up here. Probably going to move all this out of the way, but we'll get you set up over there. Just so I can get around. We need our handy dandy watering setup. Now that we can get in here, we will take and set up these trays just like this. Put this watering tablet over, but we want to make sure black side is up. Get it all the way down in here, right? And then we will set our trays right up here on top. Grab our papers. So you'll be able to see them. Put the heater back a little bit. So separate the lid here. No, probably not the best point of view, but there we go. We got our lid, our seed set up. We spin this guy sideways. Yes, I know, I'm working in a very crammed area, but if we spin it sideways, there we go. There's our seed set up, how we got it. Now it's just time to water. We'll go ahead and set you right there on top of the heater. Grab my awesome watering apparatus. Pump it up a little bit. This is my little greenhouse setup. We'll put the lid on it here in a second, but what we want to make sure we do is fill the trough down here. In fact, just to make sure. Pressure off this, and I'm actually just going to dump the whole jug just so I don't have a huge problem. Looks like we got a little bit of water in here now. Definitely going to need more water. Luckily I keep a lot of spare water around just for this case. Not really this case, just because you never know when your worms need to get watered for maybe an extended period stay. I also run a heater in here, and as you can see, I've got a nice fly problem. But now we have a nice depth on this. Have all of our material set up, and we can just go ahead and lock her down. Maybe. Guess it's just going right on top just like that. Now you get your nice greenhouse effect. I will make sure that I move the heater, and you guys apparently, right out here. So now you can see we have our nice setup here. I will make sure that I get the paperwork taped down to the lid here, but then we will be able to see, you know, we have our grow lights, got everything set up. We'll see how everything does, and we'll keep checking in. Have a fun day.